What if I told you that a poor boy who lost elections again and again, failed in business, faced heartbreak and depression, and was rejected nearly, would one day become the kind of the president of the United States? This is the unbelievable story of a man who proved that failure is not the end, it's the path to greatness. This is the story of Abraham Lincoln, the man who refused to quit. Imagine failing again and again while the whole world watches. Imagine trying your best, giving everything you have, and still losing almost every time. Most people would quit after a few failures, but one man didn't. That man was Abraham Lincoln. Long before he became one of the most respected leaders in history, Lincoln was just a poor boy born in a small log cabin in rural America. His family struggled to survive, and life was never easy. He had very little formal education, YouTube channel, and many people around him believed he would never become anything important. But deep inside, Lincoln had something powerful, a, a burning desire to improve his life and make a difference. As he grew older, the challenges only became harder. He started a small business, hoping it would change his future. But the business failed, leaving him in debt. Instead of giving up, he tried to move forward. Then he entered politics, believing he could help people and create change. His first election ended in defeat. For many people, one major failure is enough to stop trying. Lincoln, for Lincoln, it was only the beginning. He continued running for different political positions, and again he lost. Each loss could have broken his spirit. Each rejection could have convinced him that success was impossible. Yet every time he fell, he stood back up. Behind the scenes, Lincoln also faced personal struggles. He experienced deep sadness and moments of doubt, tested him in ways most people could not imagine. But instead of letting failure define him, he used every setback as motivation to keep moving forward. And this young man who failed repeatedly would one day achieve something no one expected. The boy who lost so many times would eventually rise to the highest office in the United States, proving that persistence is stronger than failure and that true success belongs to those who refuse to quit. For Abraham Lincoln never started with comfort or privilege. He was born in 1809 in a tiny wooden log cabin in the wilderness of Kentucky. There were no luxuries, no wealth, and very few opportunities. His family struggled daily just to survive. Food was not always guaranteed, and education was considered a luxury that most poor families could not afford. Lincoln's childhood was filled with hard labor rather than classrooms. As a young boy, he spent long days helping his father clear land, chop wood, and work on the farm. His hands became rough from physical work or before he was even a teenager. Other children in cities had teachers and books. Lincoln had only curiosity and determination. Formal schooling for him was extremely limited. In total, he attended school for less than a year in his entire childhood. But what he lacked in education, he made up for with an incredible hunger to learn. Whenever he could find a book, he would read it again and again. Sometimes he walked miles just to borrow a single book from a neighbor. At night, after exhausting days of work, Lincoln would sit near the dim light of a fireplace and study. He read about history, law, and great leaders. Those quiet nights of reading slowly shaped his mind and built the foundation for the man he would become. His childhood also brought deep emotional pain. When Lincoln was only 9 years old, his mother died. The loss left a deep scar on his heart and forced him to grow up faster than most children. Became even harder, but it also made him stronger and more determined. These early struggles created something powerful inside him. Poverty, loss, and hardship could have destroyed his dreams. Instead, they built resilience. The boy who grew up in a small log cabin with almost nothing was slowly developing the strength, character, and vision that would one day change a nation. As Abraham Lincoln grew into adulthood, he began searching for a way to build a better life. He had no money, no powerful connections, no formal education. He had something many others didn't, an unshakable determination to rise above his circumstances. In his early 20s, Lincoln decided to try his luck in business. Along with a partner, he opened a small general store in the village of New Salem, Illinois. At first, it seemed like a promising opportunity. Lincoln worked hard, greeted customers with honesty, and hoped the business would become the turning point in his life. But things didn't go as planned. The store struggled almost from the beginning. Sales were slow, debts began piling up, and eventually the business collapsed completely. Lincoln was left with a huge financial burden that took him years to repay. For many people, channel, such a failure would have destroyed their confidence. It could have convinced them that success simply wasn't meant for them. Lincoln refused to see it that way. Instead of letting the failure define his future, he accepted responsibility and continued moving forward. During this difficult time, people in the town began to notice something unusual about him. Lincoln was known for his honesty, fairness, and strong moral character. In fact, locals gave him the nickname Honest AB. Even though his business had failed, Lincoln had gained something far more valuable, the respect and trust of the people around him. That reputation slowly opened new doors. People began encouraging him to enter politics, believing his integrity and intelligence could make a real difference. For Lincoln, this suggestion sparked a new dream. Maybe his purpose wasn't business after all. Maybe his true path was leadership, And with that idea, he prepared to take his first step into the world of politics, a step that would bring both incredible failures and extraordinary success. Abraham Lincoln first stepped into politics. He believed he could make a difference in people's lives. He had seen poverty, hardship, use channel and struggle with his own eyes. And he wanted to help build a better future for his country. With hope and determination, he decided to run for public office. His first attempt ended in disappointment. Lincoln ran for the Illinois state legislature, believing that his ideas and honesty would win the support of the people. Instead, he lost the election. For a young man already carrying the weight of financial failure from his failed business, this defeat could have been devastating. Many people in his position would have walked away and never tried again. Lincoln refused to give up. He continued studying law, teaching himself by reading books late into the night. Slowly, he became a lawyer, building a reputation for fairness and integrity. Yet his political journey remained full of obstacles. Over the years, Lincoln ran for several positions, and many times he lost. He lost races for Congress. He lost campaigns for the Senate. Each defeat was public and painful. Critics doubted him. Opponents mocked him. Every loss added another chapter to what looked like a long history of failure. Something remarkable happened with every setback. Instead of becoming weaker, Lincoln became stronger. Every defeat taught him lessons about leadership, patience, and resilience. He improved his speaking skills, sharpened his ideas, and connected more deeply with the struggles of ordinary people. The world saw a man who kept losing elections. But beneath those defeats, something powerful was being built: experience, wisdom, and unbreakable determination. What no one realized at the time was that these repeated failures were quietly shaping one of the most influential leaders in American history. The man who kept losing would one day win the most important election of all.